can't see you yet.
Yeah, I just kind of see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll go.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there, and welcome to the Texas Real Estate Show. And here we are on this bright Thursday morning to answer all the things real estate. If you've got any questions from wherever you are and wherever you may be, please put them in the chat. Ask the questions. If you're a real estate investor, a real estate agent, whether you're a new agent, experienced agent, just share some information with us. We want to know what's happening to other parts of the country. Where we are down in southeast Texas, I've got to tell you the market is absolutely fabulous. We're doing well. Everybody says the market's crashing. I really don't know where they're getting that information from. Perhaps they're on cocaine or drugs or whatever, but you know, to be perfectly honest, the prices are actually going up. The prices are going up. Unfortunately, the interest rates are going up as well, which is making the properties sit there just a little bit longer, but we are selling and the houses are turning over. Investors are getting a little bit more squeezed, obviously, because the interest prices are going up, taxes are going up, insurance is going up, and then at the same, so there's less markup on their investment properties. We've had a lot of calls from investors that are looking at selling their properties. We've actually increased our number of properties because of investors that are basically selling and getting out of the market. A lot of them sellers are out-of-state investors because they feel like they have no control, whether it be the tenants. An investor from California called us the other day and says, look, I need to sell my house, and their tenant had actually owned them 10 months rent. They didn't want to pay a property management company, which is obviously the first mistake. So here we are to, help you. If you need any help, reach out to us. I'm here with my partner in crime, Laura Zaniga from Lone Star Premier Mortgage. How you doing, Laura?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Did I say that right, Laura?
Yes.
With a British accent.
Yes. You didn't know it could be said with British accent.
Absolutely.
Good job.
And then we've got Kay pressing all the buttons in the back.
Okay.
How you doing today?
That was me pressing buttons. I'm doing good. It's
You're
a little
good.
rainy outside.
It is a little bit. But what have you been doing this week, Laura?
This week?
Sweating and getting your loans done?
Well, actually, I was sweating in the field because I was invited to put 2 commercial properties in the market on Tuesday. So that was quite an adventure.
Is that with our commercial team?
Yes, with your commercial team.
They got you out in the field.
So
them commercial signs are no joke because they're so big.
yes.
And they're heavy.
Got them to see them in action.
Was you wearing your Wellington boots?
I was wearing boots.
But they were cowboy boots.
Yes,
Do you know what Wellington boots are, Kay?
The rain boots, right? Or is that what
Yeah.
that is?
Do you know what Wellington boots are?
No.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, my wife went over to England for the first time and seen these things we call them wellies for short,
Okay.
and they're Wellington boots and they're made out of rubber, and you get the royalty wearing them and different things when they're on the farm. And she said, I've got to have a pair of them. I have to have a pair of Wellington boots.
Or if you're in Texas, you've got to have the Tacobas boots.
Oh, no.
So that's
Tacoma boot.
Tacoma boots.
Yeah,
it's
a
a
cowboy
Texas.
boot.
It's a
But
Texas.
they're made in Mexico, aren't they?
No, it's a Texas brand.
Oh, it is? I was under the impression because of the name Tacova
No.
that it was a Mexican boot.
It's made here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple shops here in Houston. Yay! So
When I was in high school.
they used to be in
But you think
Dallas.
a lot of it depends on the shape of your foot. It's like when I had skating stores, the make of the boot that we used to put people in was basically dependent on the make of the boot we used to put them in was dependent on the shape of their foot.
Oh.
Because like Asians traditionally, all right, not that you get, well, I think you probably do get Asian, but Asians traditionally have very narrow heels but wider, what do you call it, but wider across the
Like the front part?
part, yeah, just beyond the toes. That's wider. but they're very narrow at the back. And when you walk in, the last thing you want is your heel to slip up and down because you get blisters. And then if it's too tight, then you get bunions.
That makes sense because a lot of people complain about the about cowboy boots and things like that, from being at the rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually because they're getting their cowboy boots off of Amazon or something, so they're not fitted properly to their feet.
The best pair of cowboy boots that I bought was actually when I walked into a cowboy store.
Mm-hmm.
So go to the Tacovas. That's my cowboy version of boots. But I mean, had to get boots. They got dusty, so I got to. For the first time, I cleaned my boots. So because I'm always just shopping.
You your husband with them.
In the car, So I hardly ever get my boots dirty. But anyway, so that was a nice adventure. See what they really go through. Scoping the entire properties and talking to locals as well. So.
Well, that was good.
That
So
was
what have you been
awesome.
up to the last week? Okay.
What did I do? I haven't done anything actually.
You've been working out every day.
Do you work out?
Whenever I call you, you're working out at the gym.
I'm always working out actually. Do work out a lot.
But we thought we'd do something different this week.
Right.
Kay had brought some things up that she thought perhaps what we should do is do real estate related, and then what we would do is myself and Laura would be the people to comment on the various things. So what you got first, Kay?
I'm in charge. No, I'm just kidding.
You are in charge for this week.
No, so I actually just wanted, because a lot of times you kind of talk about how real estate is the best investment. I think that's even what we talked about last week, right? That you could do. So I wanted to show you this guy's name is CoffeeZilla, and he gives people financial advice. And he was talking about why he chose real estate over having his own shop. So it is, I believe, the first one up. But if you guys want to take a look.
Franchised one of the.
Ooh, hold on, let me turn that down. That hurt my ears. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go.
Those frozen yogurt places, because I thought, wow, I could make 25 to 30% on my money versus a rental property that at best is going to be doing about 8 to 9%. So why wouldn't I take the 30%? I ended up taking the rental property. I'm so glad I did. My friend did the frozen yogurt place. Horrible. He was there every day. Your employees would call you. I'm sorry I can't make it. It's not feeling well today. Yeah, you could let that person go, but you still have to be there physically to open up the store. COVID ruined him, and the franchise requested that he stay open. During a lot of the days in Los Angeles was for the most part shut down. He said that it costs more to stay open than it would be just to close and pay all the rent. It's not worth the headache.
Okay, his name is Graham Stevens.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with his podcasts on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's basically started selling real estate at 18. And now he owns multiple properties with multi-units and all the way across the board. He's got a Ford GT40. He's got one of them in his garage. I mean, very wealthy investment. And because I don't know if anybody knows on the channel, but there are other forms that they say are good investments. Antique cars supposed to be a good investment. Art is supposed to be a very good investment.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate, and I still say real estate is the number one investment. One of the biggest mistakes that I made in my life was I listened to a very successful person who is very good at trading and very good at buying stocks. And he said to me, you need to do this course. I invested in the course, I invested in the class, and I learnt everything, and the money that I put into it, and this is a damn true story. One day I was $6,500 up. I'd made $6,500 in one day, which I thought, wow, this is good. And the following day I lost $7,500. So I don't look on that as a good investment over the long term. Plus it was costing me money. now with real estate, what I like about it is the way that I gauge my real estate is you can do it on a spreadsheet. You have a rough idea what your costs are going to be over the years. I'm not a big believer in putting up big increases. I'd rather keep my tenants in my property, because each time you lease your property, I maintain my properties. I'm not a slumlord, but I like to keep what I call a non-nuisance rent on the rent increases, so the tenant will stay there maybe 5-6 years, because I know every time a tenant leaves, I've got to do a make ready, which is going to cost money. I've got to pay an agent to release the property.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes more sense to, but I'll only do that if the tenant's good. So when your lease is up for renewal,
You're kicking me out? No, just joking.
but I think it's so important. If the tenant's a pain in the ass, then that might not apply. But with some of them, but I agree with Graham Stevens. He's got a very good business mind. It's a good channel. I would recommend to anybody that's out there to subscribe to his channel. It's a very interesting channel, actually. I've learned a lot from the channel.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I thought this was really interesting.
Where did you get Graham Stevens' information from? Was it just YouTube? You watched him on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. I like to I watch a lot of things about different scams in like the stock market and things like that, because I just think it's interesting. Just I don't know. I feel like everyday people can kind of learn from it. So I like to look at stuff like this, because I like, if you saw my recommendations, you'd be like, what the heck are you watching? But this is what I wanted to talk about. This was like one of the main things is, like, speaking of scams, so this is a very, very popular radio DJ. His name is DJ Envy. He is a radio DJ on like Hot 97 or whatever. It's like the most popular hip hop station in the country. And he was teaching people about real estate. And so this is a very big thread, but I just wanted to get you guys' reactions and just kind of listen to what he's saying and telling people how to invest.
Caesar is flipping NJ is apartment in New Jersey. He owns over 1,600 units in New Jersey and all throughout the country.
Caesar was in prison before.
Caesar was in prison. Caesar was locked up, and he learned how to do
He owns
this.
how many? He owns how many properties?
He said 1,600, but then the next thing that he said was that he was in prison. So.
Prison.
Wow.
Learn how to do it himself.
We gotta bring Caesar up here one day.
Yeah, we love to do it.
And shout out to my guy, the credit dude, man.
Yeah. So with Caesar, he taught me how to do it the right way. He taught me, why he was like, his first thing is, why are you using your money? That's what you mean. He said, you don't use your money, you use other people's money to get these deals. And started teaching me the game of how to do it without using minimum money. And that's what I've been trying to teach people. When I first got into real estate, I called 3 people. I called Clue, I called Fabulous, I called Joe Budden. Right? My desert store family. I said, hey guys, I'm doing real estate. This is something that I think that you should invest a little bit of money and try it out, and that way you can do it. Joe Budden told me it was a Ponzi scheme, and I was gonna go to jail. Fab was like, I'll call you back. And Clue was like, nah, it's not for me. But I tried to teach them how to do it because I wanted my brothers to eat, and I meant.
So.
What's my opinion?
Yeah, so that's the first video from this whole thing, because it's a huge thing that's going on. So I just wanted to show you that very first video. This is the first video. Mind you, now the guy Caesar got arrested for wire fraud and things like that. The guy that they're kind of talking about.
Let me just comment a little bit on that first
Yeah.
slide, okay? How could I explain this? A lot of investors, and I don't know what Laura thinks about this, but a lot of investors that are successful won't share their success and how they became successful unless you subscribe to their program, their course. So what you have to be careful of is there's a lot of people out there that don't really invest in real estate, but all they're doing is selling education.
Their programs, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that do that, and there are a lot of successful people. I had somebody call me up the other day that offered me a part-time job to basically call on the phone to other real estate agents, because I'm a real estate investor, and get them enrolled with a very, very well-known, to enroll in their programs and to come to them events over the years, to basically just call them up and get them into the program to become a seasoned investor. I mean, that's how some of these you know, I think they get very complicated with stuff. Now, no disrespect to anybody, but if you've got 1,600 units, all right, I'm sorry, but you couldn't run them from prison.
You can't manage them.
There's no way on earth that you could manage them.
Oh, he said he learned how to do all of this in prison, and then he got out.
Oh, so he learned wire fraud in prison.
Essentially,
That's basically what he's saying.
What he's saying. And so it's funny.
Admit it. On national recorded thing.
Right. And
Yikes.
you have your partner going in and telling people, and that's so exactly what you said, Steven. So now, you know, his friend taught him how to do it. So now what they're doing is they started selling courses. Like exactly what's on the screen. They started selling courses, just showing, you know, people quote unquote.
And these are the courses that they're selling.
So they're going
And they're making more money from the courses
Yep.
than what they do from the real estate.
And then they're taking that money and then they're investing it into their real estate. That's exactly what they're doing.
And they don't hit you up for 5,000.
Yeah.
They want at a minimum 50 to 150,000 for you to become part of a team after you get out of their little talk.
Oh, that's crazy. So after
Because
they
I
do
went to 2 different, these so-called people that show you how to be an investor. So I just went because I get a lot of calls from people that get wrapped up in nonsense. I call it nonsense. So
Which it is.
because they're not, you have to give them certain amount of capital in order for you to be in, right? So it's like paying the mob, right? But then you have to do all this other stuff. Anyways, the point is that I get a lot of questions, and I just wanted to know, okay, what do they really listen to that gets them all hyped up, and then they come aggressively telling me why can't I give them a loan, right? So the point is that they get them hyped up, and some of these are positive and, you know, motivational. Yeah, I get it. But in the real world, it doesn't work that way. Certain ways that their teachings, and that's where they go wrong. But then on the last seminar that I went, I was like, okay, they wouldn't let me in when I wanted to sign up for, no, you have to come back the next day.
Oh,
Like, so I was like,
they don't
oh,
want you to
man,
get time
I'm
to
wasting
think about
time,
it,
right? So I came back the next day. I'm like, oh my God, are they finally going to let me in? So who has 401k? Okay, all of you go over here. Who has Roth? Who has RIA?
Yeah.
They were putting them in buckets.
Right, but yeah.
Then,
see if you had the money to
then
invest.
how much check, and then they would give you others raw.
And that's the part I don't like. But
And then it's like, okay, time for you to show us how much you really have in your RRA account and your whatever. And they tell you, like, because you have a certain amount, and they were segregating people, like, okay, you have to go, well, we picked a special group for you, and we're going to move you to team blah, blah, blah. They're the go-giggers, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be put in this other one. And the people that had XYZ numbers were put in a separate group. So then those people are put in a group to create an LLC to do flips. That's the seminar that I went to do flips, but everybody gets a little nugget out of the flip. So, but it's very, some techniques on how to get, because somebody has to do like the wholesale kind of thing, you know, just scoping off the market. And some strategies, I thought they were unethical, especially going under to certain types of people. You know, I was like, that's unethical. What would you think if that was your grandma?
The first,
Exactly.
You know, or
because-
your
the
auntie.
first investment seminar I went to was free, so I went to it, and it was for a 6-hour investment seminar, and all it was for 6 hours was free, and then to do the rest of the seminar, which was another 2 days after that, was another $2,500, where they would teach you the secrets of becoming a real estate investor. My feeling on how you become a real estate investor is go see an agent that you trust, go see a loan officer that you trust. And what I'm going to tell everybody is getting your first real estate investment is the hardest one you'll ever do, because you're learning. You know, if it's a true real estate investment, you're not going to make much money the first 2 years, 3 years. Gradually, as the rents go up, you'll start to make a little bit more. But my honest feeling is it with it, to be perfectly honest, is, you know, it's your first real estate investment is really the hardest one. That was my hardest one.
It is the
And then
hardest one.
gradually it gets easier and easier and easier. I mean, you know, I've lent on you a lot recently, you and Courtney, to sort of refinance some properties. So now I've got a bit of money to go in there, fix some of the
Particular
properties.
I'm so sorry. Continue.
But I mean, I do now. Seriously, I do like that they motivate people, because some people do need motivation to. These are the very gullible people, need motivation to push
I
them.
don't
You know,
think
sometimes.
it's not the
But-
right motivation. It really isn't. It's just motivation to motivate you to get your cash
Will
out of your
motivate
pocket.
you to do something, but I wouldn't do it with that particular association.
You see, when people
You know what I mean?
when people say things like that, I don't think it's right. If you want to do, you can do anything in life that you want to do, but you personally have got to set your goals, and you've got to set your own goals. Nobody else can do that for you. I didn't get to Olympics because I didn't want to get to Olympics. I got to Olympics because
You
as a
wanted it.
16-year-old I watched John Curry, and I wanted to be, you know, there was no way I was ever going to be as good as John Curry, because he was a legend in himself. But the truth of the matter is, I thought, you know what, I don't mind getting an Olympic uniform. That's all I wanted, was the uniform. You know. But
but I mean, I get the motivational speech, and then there's a pause every hour, every 2 hours.
I think these
But,
things
ugh.
put a false. They put a false.
They give false expectations.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that what Laura was saying is what they're doing, though. They're like, hey, you know, I'm going to put you in a bucket, and hey, do you have this much money? Do you have
But
this
they're
much
not doing
money?
it for the ethical and correct
No,
reasons.
right. But what I'm saying is that because what they're saying is they're telling them to use other people's money. So not only are they charging for the seminars, right, but they're also taking those people who have it, like the retirees, people who have what they feel is disposable income, who have $20,000 in the bank or so, and want to purchase a house, and they're like, okay, go in with us. Like you put your money with us.
I agree with you,
And so
but
it's
there's
horrible.
a reason. Using other people's money is not robbing people of money.
Mhm.
Using
No.
other people's money is the likes of
It's like
banks.
hard
Do you
money
understand?
loans.
Yes.
Owner
It's
finance.
It's using controlled entities and bodies that are actually set up to do that. It's like the loan I just got is a hard money loan, correct? Them are the people that they should do, but they're going for the softies. They're going for the soft targets. They're going for the retirees, people over 55. You know, that's who the scammers go for, people over 55. People that want to get into the business, but they don't want to pay, or they don't trust a real estate agent,
Or they don't want to
or
do
they
the
don't
legwork.
trust a loan agent. You know,
you can see in most of their videos that most of it is older people and people who are of Hispanic and African American descent, because for the most part they're not knowledgeable on how to spend their money. So it's kind of messed up because it's like you said, it's the most vulnerable communities, and then they've lost all their money and things like that. So I mean, they're being investigated. The radio station that he works for has also been sued because he talked about it a lot on that radio station, and the community, everybody trusted him because he was a well-known DJ, and things like that. So now his whole everyone around him is getting sued. And I just thought it was interesting, but I also think it's funny because in this post right here, someone said, it should have been known that it was a scam when this guy is the official mathematician.
It's a direct time to get into real estate, right? Here's a perfect example. Last year, 3 families, $500,000. Interest rate was 3%. Rent back then was $4,500. Mortgage was $3,340. Your rent minus your mortgage, you made $1,160 every month. $13,000 a year.
Nice.
2022, house value, same thing, $500,000.
stop that.
Rates now
Stop. Them numbers aren't even correct.
Exactly.
It's missing insurance. It's missing taxes.
HOA.
All right. It's missing repairs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's missing a vacancy rate, because whenever you're working out your number, like, you always put in a vacancy rate.
So now let's look at the next year, because you said that was the first year.
6%. Oh my God, for 6%, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna show you. You actually make more money. Rent now is $6,500. Rent's through the roof. The mortgage is $4,204. Your rent minus your mortgage, you make $2,296 a month, $27,000 a year. You actually make more money with higher rates right now, just because rents are through the roof. Rents don't go backwards. Real estate waits for nobody. What are you waiting for?
Okay.
I tell you what I'm waiting for, the correct information. That really is the correct, because he's not giving you factual information. He's making you optimistic, but optimistic under the wrong impressions, because how you should be doing it is in a logical form. Investment is done for one reason and one reason only. So you make a return on your investment. Mm-hmm. And the easiest way to do that, it's quite simple, it's called an Excel spreadsheet. You can make up your own Excel spreadsheet. You can do it for the year on page 1. You can put all your expenses in. You copy and paste it for year 2. And you can basically, increase your expenses a percentage as a year. And that will give you roughly, when I normally do that, the first year it's not making much at all. If I can make $100, $200 on a single family home a month, the first year, I'm out celebrating. Mm-hmm. Because I'd rather be conservative on the numbers than anything above that is a bonus. Mm-hmm. And it's a strategy that I've used, and it's a strategy that actually has worked out very well for me.
Yeah, you have to check your data, your resources before you publicize anything out there, because...
And the other thing is, I think you've got to do is, which is the thing that he doesn't even understand because he's not a real estate agent, what's the market rents? Properties are worth, quite simple, properties are valued on location and condition.
Yep.
And now, how can he, if he hasn't got that insight, how does he do that? Has he got a real estate agent that he relies on to get him that information? He's made no information at all to that. He's basically just running his mouth.
Yep. He's just talking. I mean,
He's motivating people,
right,
to get into his program, and he's obviously selling his program. That's all he's bothered about. Mm-hmm. He's not bothered about real estate. And personally, it's people like this that I'm not over enthusiastic about, because it's people like that that give agents a bad name, because they take them as agents You know, as agents, it's against agents to turn around to somebody and say that's a good investment or a bad investment. We are legally not obliged to tell you if it's a good investment or a bad investment. That's your accountant's job.
Mhm.
But if it's my property, I can easily work out if I think it's a good investment or a bad investment. And the other thing I'm just going to pass on, which is I think is vital information for somebody, is if you're involved in an investment deal, you're making money when you buy the property, not when you sell the property. You actually make your money on any property when you purchase the property, upgrade the property, and then when you sell it, it just so happens that you get your profits at that point, because your profits are wrapped up in, you know, actually in that equation.
I just feel so bad for all of those people that he scammed. But hopefully, I mean, it looks like they're going to win the lawsuit that's up, so that's really, really good.
But here's the issue that really pisses me off. You know, he's probably spent everything. How much do you think? I mean, how many properties has he bought?
So when he first started, he said that the guy had 1,600 properties. I was looking for the video where it said how much he had now, but I think it went up to like 2,600. And you have to remember that these people are in New York. So when they're talking about properties, they probably are purchasing buildings, right? So they're purchasing, you know, buildings with, you know, 10 units in it at a time, right? 15, 20 units, whatever, in it at a time for the most part. So he said that the other guy has 2,400, and then he now has like over like 800 or 900, and then like some other people that he works with have like 80, some people have 60. So I mean, they have.
My personal feeling is what they need to do is move all them properties over to a professional management company.
Mm-hmm.
Let them manage the company, let them manage the property, and all the investors will be involved in that property, and then they would get a proper monthly income
Every time.
that's
Yeah.
accounted for, that they get their monthly statement from, and then if they want to sell some of them properties, then it becomes like an LLC where they can vote to sell a particular group of properties.
Yeah. Because.
Then everybody gets a fair shake.
Right. Because all these people are going to jail. So, I mean, these two people.
Well, where he started is where he's going to finish.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. I mean, that's what he gets. That's what you get for, you know, messing with
Well,
people.
this way,
But, so speaking of someone who went to jail, this is funny too.
Next.
This is
Who was the
next
next
one.
person that went to jail?
So this is an abandoned house, and I just thought it was really cool to kind of look at it. It's kind of sad.
Here? Dude, no one lives here. Can you take me through a tour of the home?
Let's do it. I'm an abandoned explorer. And
So-
they have to be abandoned though.
I think it fits the bill. But it
How do you
didn't
know they're
used to look
abandoned?
like this.
Back in the day, this used to be a big wraparound stairway with these golden rails that are now clearly on the floor. See, like there's gold flaky ceiling up above. They really put in some time and thought into the construction of this house, and now it's just fallen to disrepair at this point. But honestly, this is probably my favorite room of the house. I've never seen ceilings like this. in my
Where is
life.
this?
Check this out.
Oh my gosh, look at this
What?
iridescent. So who used to live here?
There was a politician that lived
That's
here.
weird.
I can't say her name. She got in trouble for tax fraud, and this house was basically taken away from her. Yeah, there was a bed right here. There was this beautiful gaudy frame that used to go around the bed, and now it's obviously this pool that used to be like 10 feet deep, and now they filled it in, and it just looks like a forest at this point.
Hey, Matthew.
There's like a forest in there.
One of my clients came in this morning to pay his rent for his mother, and he said they've got a house in Jerusalem, and his family have held the house since 1947, and it's been vacant all them years because his family doesn't want to go. Some of his family are Israelis and some of his families are Palestinians, you know, and they just don't want to go back and live in Jerusalem. Can you imagine that? Having a house empty for that amount of time?
It's
That
insane.
is.
And there's no squatters then in Israel?
What's that?
I guess there's no
There
squatters
probably is,
in
there
Israel?
probably is, but they've got friends over there that keep an eye on it to make sure that, you know, it is what it is.
Hey, they should Airbnb it.
Yeah, that's right. And watch the fireworks every night.
I mean, there's a lot of tourists that go to Jerusalem. I'm just saying.
That's true.
So what else you got for us, Kay?
What is it? Make lemonade out of lemons?
Make a, yeah.
Whatever that
Make
saying
lemonade.
is.
Yes. I had to think about it too. So I actually just wanted to talk
So
about,
Elon-
because you know how you always talk about the little portable boxable houses?
His neighbor.
Yeah,
Elon
his
Musk.
neighbor.
Your neighbor.
My hero, Elon Musk.
Which is your neighbor.
I feel
yeah. We should go and do a podcast at the corner.
And if anybody's wondering why they're saying he's my neighbour, it's because they've just built a
He's
Tesla
a real
collision
neighbor.
centre right next to our,
He's
not next
his
to our.
real neighbor. But okay.
I have not got any time at all for Elon Musk.
Elon Musk just purchased this foldable home for $50,000 that can be assembled in under an hour, and they're taking over the world.
What do you think of the boxable?
I actually have a boxable. It's a prototype boxable down in South Texas.
Is it like big or is it?
No, it's small.
Is it-
It's very small.
The last price we sold a boxable casita at was $60,000. That's for basically a 400 square foot studio apartment, kitchen, bath, bed and couch. And if you look around in the marketplace, there's really nothing else out there at that price.
So Elon Musk just purchased this foldable.
It's Stephen Graham again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Graham Stevens, or his name is. Yeah. Yeah, I've watched this episode.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he bought a foldable home.
Are you
But
guys?
there's a number of companies that are building them now. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, but Boxable's the most popular one with it. They have because it's I think it's like the only one that's actually foldable. I think most of the places they're kind of like the trailer homes, but this one's
No, they're not.
supposedly
No, they're not.
foldable.
There
Oh,
are.
really?
There's other ones that are foldable. No, there's other companies out there that
Foldable
basically they
homes.
fold them.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Would you trust the structure of a house like that? And
No.
do you think that $50,000 to
The only thing
$60,000
that, do you know what
is worth it?
concerns me? And this is from a real estate point. I think the slab that they put it on has got to be a pretty good slab.
Okay.
Because what happens in Texas over time, you know, we have problems with slabs. So after so many years, you understand, the bottom moves and the cracks come in the walls and different things like that.
The settlement.
Right.
Settlement in the ground.
And so after, 20 years, what would you do with a boxable? Would you have to rip it off, or?
I would be afraid since it folds, it's just the roof would collapse on top of you. Yeah, just fold into you.
You know, and the issue.
Wait, there's a hurricane. Oh, you're just gonna box in.
And the other,
Transformer.
the other thing that worries me, to be perfectly honest, is hurricanes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what she said.
What would the position be, during a hurricane?
I mean, they put one of these foldable houses in the desert, but hello, the desert has mudslides.
That's true. You
Like,
just
I
sit-
lived through one this year, and those are not fun. Those are terrifying. I think they're more terrifying than water, because water, you're just gonna move away.
When you just get stuck.
Yeah, you just get literally stuck.
Do you
Feet deep stuck.
It's like quicksand? Do you think that it's worth it? Because $60,000 for what he just described was a 500 square foot studio.
Studio apartment, which includes appliances.
Oh, I didn't realize that it included
Yeah,
appliances.
but the other part that worries me about this is for them to move a 400 square foot apartment. When you build the slab, you'd have to put the plumbing in, wouldn't you? You'd have to put the electric in. How would all that be coordinated?
That's true. I would just rather have the Home Depot home. You know, the little.
She shed.
Yeah, the little 20.
You've been talking to my wife.
The 20,000 home.
You've been talking to his wife.
That sounds better than this.
Did I tell you we went to look at them barn idioms or whatever they are?
Barndominiums? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're on 5 acres, and it's basically a barn where you put all your junk on half of it, and the other half is basically living space.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and depending on what part of the community it is, but it basically starts off at $99,000. So if you want to be poked away in a corner with basically no views and just, you know, live off the grid, in my opinion, it's $99,000, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. Would you want to live in a barn? You'd be able to rest.
Well, it's not really a barn. Do you understand? It's
Yeah, these barn dominions are pretty fancy.
it is. It's not really a barn like everybody thinks. I mean, look at that. That's,
I think they're gonna last you for quite some time.
Right.
you know.
Would you want to live there? Is that where we're headed, Steven? You're going to a barn dominium?
Well,
I mean, you don't have to worry about your roof.
why
That's
not?
for sure.
Why not?
Because it's steel, right? Or aluminum.
I think most of them are aluminum.
I think it's gonna last longer than terracotta or shingles.
They seem pretty sturdy. Is it just one? Like, is it just essentially like one room? Are there bedrooms? Or
There's
how
different
does it-
ones
how
you
does it
can
work?
get. The one that we seen was like, it's like half a room. It was like half of it was to put your junk,
Mhm.
and then half of it was to, you know, to live in. And my idea was, you know, to maybe buy something like that, so then you've got somewhere to go
Let
on
me
your
send
weekends.
you this. I think this is what you're talking about. I think they're pretty neat.
Check them out.
Because you can fit up to like 4 or 5 cars
Mm-hmm.
on half of it.
Right.
The floor plan is below. There you go. See?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was sort of what it was, what we looked at.
That's
So
not too bad.
you put your cars, or what I call your junk.
For chunk.
Well, here's the deal, okay? If you've got 5 acres, you don't think you have to mow that a little bit?
That's why you get the riding mower.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, but you need somewhere to store it.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think, you know, I'd like to feel it's locked up somewhere.
You know when
Somebody's gonna take your mower for a joyride. Not really.
What?
Someone's gonna
Your
steal your mower.
nobody's gonna take your lawnmower for a joyride. Well, you never know, teenagers, right? You got a point.
I'm not saying nothing what I used to do as a kid.
Huh?
I'm not saying nothing some of the things I did as a kid.
Oh,
Oh, well.
Okay.
If there was people in the
Joyride.
area that I did, if there
Okay.
was people in the area that I didn't like,
What did you do to
joyride
these people?
on the lawnmower.
let's keep it off the real estate show. Let's keep the real estate.
Okay. But you know, these barn dominions, you know, they look very sturdy to me. So if I would build from scratch, I think I would build a barn dominion.
Yeah. Because especially, you know, your kids are older too, Laura, so it's not like you have to worry about space. Tell them to get the heck out.
I do have to worry about space because they're all going to dump them at my house on the weekends so they can have free time. That's our kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be a grandma only on the weekends.
Oh, Lord. But you know what's funny? When you see the floor plan price, when I was in like middle school, I used to love looking at, you know, houses and floor plans. I thought the cost of the houses were the cost of the floor plan. So I was like, why do people complain about houses being so expensive? It's only $1,200.
Nope.
No.
My biggest reason for doing something like that is where you can go weekends and I can take my dogs.
Yeah, that's what.
My dogs would love it.
Yeah, they would.
Would you get like goats and cows and things like that?
Well, there's nobody to look after them in the week.
Oh, that's true.
You can't just like put buckets of food and they'll just serve themselves, like just eat when they want to. No, I'm asking. I don't know. I've never been a farm animal girl, so I'm asking. You know, like kittens, you put that timer, and their food dispenses, dog food dispenses.
When I used to have a roommate, her cat would like just eat all the food immediately, but then it would just get super sick and just like, you know, not you throw it up. But it was, I hated that cat so much. But
Our next door neighbour's got chickens and got goats.
Oh, look, barn dominions actually build farmhouse plans. Those are pretty neat.
that's cool. That would be nice.
Would you
But-
build a barn dominium for sure?
Would I build one?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to buy one that's already built.
I think I
Because
would
what you
prefer
can do,
building.
you can have them custom.
Yeah, custom made.
But the secret to the barn dominiums, to be perfectly honest, is the lot. Where is the lot situated in the community? Because what they're doing is with these barn dominiums, they're setting them in communities.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a yearly HOA. As they sell more lots, then they're going to build a clubhouse. Then they're going to build a pool. Now, when they build the clubhouse and they build the pool, what do you think's going to happen to the HOAs?
Your HOA is going to go up.
Right. And that's the part that, to be perfectly honest, that worries me a little bit.
The HOA.
Because you're going from something that is relatively cheap, and you don't really know if, I would have thought the value of a barn dominium would go up because of real estate in general,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah, they're really nice though.
Or it's like, this is what I'm shopping.
I'm shopping for a farmhouse barn dominion.
This is the last thing that I wanted to talk about. This is your expertise, Laura.
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down.
You know you get a free house in South Italy, don't you?
Oh yeah.
They will give you a free house in Italy.
But you can't live in it for like 3 years.
No, that's
What?
not true. No.
Most of them. That's what
No.
it says when you look it up.
No, you have to renovate it in 3 years.
Oh,
You have to renovate it, but you're not allowed to live in it.
You can live in it. But if it's renovated, you can.
but what can I do? Oh, I'm a loan officer. I can work from anywhere.
My wife's into that at the moment. She's like, let's move to Italy, let's move to Italy. I'm like, what?
But wouldn't she have to be certified?
If you was going to, well, I'm from Europe,
But she would have to be certified.
right, and believe it or not, I still have a European passport.
And do you?
I don't know if that's still valid or not,
Do you have like? What about?
but I do think there's a treaty between America and Italy and Portugal, because the same thing's happening in Portugal. People are buying properties in Portugal and they're buying properties in Italy, and there's some other European countries that are struggling. Armenia is another country that, if you was going to retire to a country, where would you retire to?
Austin, Texas.
Really?
Round Rock, yeah.
No, not for me. I don't want to retire in the US.
I mean,
I'm looking for somewhere at the moment.
you get a little bit of the flats and you get a little bit
How
of
about
the
UK?
hills.
Where would you retire to?
Greece.
That's supposed to be a good country to retire to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think.
Why Greece?
Because it's nice. The only thing is that I would always keep my money in cash because they would lock up your money if you have it electronic.
Well, they've had a lot of inflation,
Yeah.
a lot of monetary problems.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. But Greece
But
is nice.
you keep all your money in cash here now anyway, don't you?
For the most part, yeah.
I
I
mean,
know you do, I mean.
I would retire.
I've had to take it to the bank to cash checks.
I would retire in the hill country of Texas, and then in the middle of nowhere and build my barn minion. Me and my dogs.
See, you're the same. How many dogs you got?
3.
Yeah.
It's just the extreme weather in Texas is the only thing that would make me not want.
Well, that's got worse.
Yeah.
I thought you might want to sort of, I don't know, go to the Bahamas or...
Hurricanes and rain. It rains so much. It's nice and tropical. but
Have you
not
ever been
like
to
tropical
Jamaica?
weather. No, I want to go.
I've always wanted to go to Jamaica to Reggae Fest.
How do you want to go?
Reggae.
You gotta go to Carnival.
Reggae. I was brought up with reggae.
Cause
In
he saw
Birmingham,
those
where I'm
dances.
from, there was a lot of Jamaicans that lived in Handsworth, an area called Handsworth where my father's factory was. Yeah,
I like reggae.
I
like
love
their
reggae.
jerk
UB40
chicken.
rules.
Jerk chicken.
UB40.
Okay, what's the question for me?
Okay. So there's this another.
Just announced that up to $10,000 of federal student loan debt will be forgiven if you make under $125,000 a year or $250,000 a year as a married couple. On top of that, all other student loan debt will be paused one final time through December 31st, 2022. Even more remarkable is that you'll owe no federal income tax whatsoever on the amount that's forgiven, so it's basically a free $10,000. One side believes this should help boost up our economy when less money is tied up paying back loans, while the other side believes that this will only worsen inflation and that it's not fair to everybody else who already paid back their loans. What?
That's right.
She's like this. So 10,000, is it a free, like if somebody, you pay back your loans and you make less than what, $150,000?
About
Is it
student loan debt,
technically- yeah.
I honestly do not know.
Okay.
I haven't looked into that, but I'll definitely look that into you and bring it up in the next show. But you just have to be cautious on what they say because some stuff it's not really true. It has a lot of the times it's like depending, on how much income per county, not specifically as a state or a country, so it's very nitty gritty. It's like the down payment assistance programs that it boils down to sometimes how many live in the household and how much income, even though they're not on the loan. Like there's so many variables, right? So when somebody just puts stuff like that out there, like I feel like they miss the little fine print too.
Yeah. You
Really
have to do more
applies.
research into
Yeah.
what it is. You can't just be like.
But I'll research some of it and see if I can get you some data on it.
What's your feeling on...
Do you think it's fair?
I paid off all my student loans before this, which sucks.
Well, myself and my wife's goal was to see our kids through college if they wanted to, only if they wanted to go to college.
Mhm.
We didn't force them to go to college.
Mhm.
And they both decided that they would go to college. One of my children decided to drop out of college, and that's fine. He decided to just go to the local college, HCC. So we paid for him to go to the local HCC. He dropped out of that, which was fine, Then it's time to welcome to the big wide world and find your job.
Mhm.
My daughter, we paid for her to go all the way through college, and then to feel that somebody else is getting, their loans paid back. From that aspect, I think it's very harsh.
Yeah.
But I think the best way to handle it is forgive the loan, because I do think it holds people back.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking to a urologist about 18 months ago, and he told me he had $450,000 worth of debt.
Because of the student loans.
Student loan. He started late, then he went to med school, then he has to do an internship for so many years because he is specialising in urology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he was 37 years old. He's not earning the big bucks now even until he graduates in urology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Think how long it's going to take for him to pay that back.
yeah, and that's where I agree. It's like, okay, yeah, just pay back the loan, only because also a lot of people are not even able to get jobs in their field anymore. At this point, when they, somebody gets a specific, unless you're going specifically, like you said, essentially to be a doctor or like a lawyer, anything, if you try to get a business degree or even accounting, half of those people are not accountants, half of those people are not in business. They they can't find jobs.
I'm going to back up everything that you just said. My daughter has an international business degree.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what she's doing at the moment?
Hmm.
She's a part-time photographer for Texas State University,
Mm-hmm.
which is where she got a business degree.
Yeah.
Now she actually picks up a degree in December the 8th and the 9th this year when she officially gets an international business degree. She's worked for some companies. She did a couple of internships that she's done. She's worked in 4 international countries. She speaks 4 languages, I believe. And to be perfectly honest, is it worth? If she had to pay for them loans, it's like, I think it's like $2,000 a semester.
Yeah. And she's supposed to go to school full time while being able.
How many
to
semesters
pay
in a
the
year? Is it
loans.
3?
2. 2 unless you do summer. 2.
Okay, well she gets the cheap discount because she's from Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
But that's
here's your
the
answer
thing.
from the CFPB. Here you go, found it for you.
TFBB.
The CFPB.
Let's see. But that's the I have my degrees in marketing and photography, and that's just why I do photography for the most part, because I mean there's like no way for me to get a job at a marketing company unless it's a call center style environment, which is not something I feel like that would be a waste. So I just put my skills to freelancing. Freelancing is the best way to make money in certain degrees.
So this is the federal student aid, and it says, what does the Supreme Court decision mean for student loan debt relief? Under the court's ruling, the U.S. Department of Education has been prohibited from implementing the Biden-Harris administration one-time debt relief program. And then on another question it said, I applied for and was approved to receive a one-time student loan debt relief. Will I still receive the relief? The Supreme Court has ruled that we are unable to implement one-time debt relief under this initiative. As a result, we won't be able to discharge any loans under this program. Again, read the fine print.
That is.
And this is from the
official
Federal Student ID
Yeah.
by the U.S. Department of Education. So there you go. Now, on the CFPB, it says that there is a clause. So, and these are probably only applies to first responders. So if you have paid 10 years of a consecutive 120 payments, you might qualify for your debt, your student debt to be forgiven. Might.
So you have to.
But you still have to pay 120 months, 10 years. But I mean, if, I don't know what, how much these careers are.
You have
It's
to be
specifically,
the
but
most responsible person on the planet. Like, Steven just said his urologist was in debt. So we're talking about just a regular. Like, that is so crazy.
so for the U.S. Department of Education, that's a no.
Do you know the smartest way, honestly, of getting a college education? Join the military. Carolyn, who teaches at a local university, she has students that are reservists in the military. I think they do like 6 weeks a year in the military. All their classes are paid for. Everything is paid for. And then after that, they've got to basically, I think they've got to do 5 years in the military, or be available
for 5 years after.
For 5 years after that. And after that, their debt is forgiven.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't want to join the military, to be my education paid.
If I had a boys, then yes, probably I would support that. I have girls. No way, I'm not supporting that.
But
What,
that's
you
all.
wouldn't let your girls join the military?
No.
There's more opportunity in the military.
Yeah, but they go through so much trouble. There's so much nonsense.
What do you mean, sexual stuff?
Yeah.
Well, that should.
So, I mean, because it's in the military, just.
So is that it for this week?
Yeah, that's all I have for you today.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm actually going down to do a closing. They're on their way with the closing papers, so I'm going down to the closing. I want to thank you all for joining us. If you want to contact us, please contact us through c21olympiantx.com. That's how you contact me, or you can go to century21olympian.com. Laura, how do we get hold of you?
Laura at lspmortgage.com or
And
social
phone number?
media. 832-274-9841.
Okay. And until next week, we'll see you. Stay dry, stay happy, have a good week, keep your thumbs up, but most of all, stay happy and have fun.
And happy Halloween, even though Stephen hates it.
Yeah. I can't